I want to know where the Biofield Tuning and the energetic work collided for you in physical therapy.
Sure, that's a great question. And I think that it is continuing to develop within me. I'm still learning. I'm always going to be a learner. So the connection of the energetic world and the physical world almost has no end or beginning. They are so interconnected. And as I learn more, I'm finding how they're so interconnected and starting to appreciate that. When I really brought this into my practice was when I was introduced to it at my new job at One-to-One Physical Therapy. I am a traditionally trained doctor of physical therapy. I went to Neumann University for that degree and initially started working as a typical physical therapist in a sports med, really busy clinic. And I was seeing 2 to 3 people an hour and providing the care that I could best provide at that time in a clinic. I actually ended up being the only clinician in the clinic at the time coming out of PT school, which is quite intense role to take on right away. And after working there for about a year and a half, I was not incorporating the energetic side and didn't know to. I wasn't exposed to it, and I could feel that my treatment was missing something. There was a component of healing that was not happening, and it was a component within myself that wasn't happening as well, and I was feeling that my own health, my body was breaking down, my mind was breaking down. I was in a tough place there for a little while, and I reached out actually to Heather directly looking for one-on-one care for myself. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, and I was on her website and actually found that there was a job opening, but there was no date associated. So I took that leap and reached out and was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to just get treatment from you or guidance from you, whatever this might be, and ended up, here I am a little over a year later working there and having developed this, huge alternate perspective of the body and that subtle energy field that really plays a large role in healing.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine there's like a huge Facebook group of spiritual physical therapy.
Yes. Yeah, it is interesting to collide the two worlds.
Yeah.
It is not common, and I do believe that is one of the most beautiful things, and I feel so grateful to work where I work because we are that integration. That is where you find the subtle energy body mixing with the physical body and meeting people where they are with what they're ready for on the health perspective, like what can their body handle on detox, or what can it put into the system that can help promote healing, or that psycho-emotional spiritual side. There are all these levels of health and wellness, so incorporating all of them is something that we do within the practice, and Biofield Tuning is one of those techniques in our toolbox that we utilize to help the integration component.
I love it. I think it's such a big missing piece in our philosophy of body, mind, health. And, it just wasn't even 20 years ago that people wouldn't acknowledge that chronic fatigue had anything to do with stress, except correlating to smoking cigarettes. And now here we are. I've taken Biofield sessions from you on Zoom. Like, how crazy is that?
It's cool.
Can you talk a little bit about, I guess, Heather's work and how she kind of set up the clinic for someone like you and Noelle to thrive? And maybe have you been able to bring your own special ingredients to what she's brought to the location in Alexandria? So we're talking about one-to-one physical therapy in Alexandria.
Yeah, so Heather has created this baby of hers. This company is truly from her heart. And I don't want to take too much away from her story, but I believe that her perspective was similar to mine in that she was also working in a busy clinic and not providing the care that she thought was right. It was, very much guided by the insurance, and she didn't feel as though she was able to give the treatment that she wanted to. And I think that's where she kind of decided to go off on her own. And it's taken many years to get to now where we are with scaling a company like that. She's done a phenomenal job steering a large boat in that perspective. I am still learning, I guess, what I am bringing to my treatment and the world. And I think that's always going to grow and develop as I learn about myself. But I think one of the biggest pieces that I love and appreciate about Heather and the company is that we also are working on integrating it for ourselves. So as we are, guiding our patients and clients, we're also still learning and growing. And, we're never going to master the system. Conscious personal mastery is... It's tough.
It's the journey I'm choosing, I don't want to be that person that has a hammer for every problem. I want a tool belt that can help a certain person if they have the right mindset. And, being in a wellness practice and having, I have a very narrow field, a very narrow specialty, and which is helping the muscle system be more efficient. And it's a very practical thing, but it's also a little weird. And I see how energy plays out in many of my clients, athletic to the woman who just wants to ride a bike again in 10 years, for the first time in 10 years. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I definitely see that as a wonderful thing, being a learner and being dedicated to doing the work yourself. Like, as you just said, there's a lot in from what I can tell anecdotally in the physical therapy world that they see the patient has a physical problem and then there's a physical solution. And that to me is the same as the hammer as being your only tool. I'm not hiring that carpenter, but so I think, when we talk about the physical body and a physical solution, you have potentially people coming in with physical problems, so they say, and then your job is to open up a book and show them that there's a whole other chapter to their physical problem.
Sure.
Do you remember the first time you had an aha moment with a patient? I guess we should back up and actually talk more about what it is. And
so Biofield Tuning in general is a sound and energy treatment. And it essentially is clearing congestion and static from your biofield. So we all have a biofield. Every living thing has a biofield. The human biofield typically extends 5 to 6 feet out to the sides in all directions and 3 feet up above your head and below your feet. And it is a toroidal shape, so almost like a donut. Your body is that central channel, and your field extends out in all directions around you. And one of the beautiful things about the biofield is that it's a very intelligent structure. So it stores information, experiences, memories, emotions, thoughts in all the areas around you within your field. And the other really cool thing is that it's chronological. So the outermost edge of your field is going to be your infancy and right those first years after birth. And then as you get closer and closer to the body, that's getting closer and closer to present moment, now. And essentially, biofield tuning is used to keep you in tune. Just like a musical instrument, the human body can get out of tune. And when the human body is out of tune, that's when we see manifestations of pain, stress, irritability, sleep disturbances. The list can go on with the issues that can pop up inside the body, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. So the great thing about Biofield Tuning is that you use different tuning forks and you find those areas within the field that are static or congestion. And those areas are created by stress or exposure to toxins, injuries, accidents, traumas, whether they're physical, mental, or emotional. And when you have those really tough sensations, even emotions, like hard emotions to feel, anger, hatred, shame, guilt, sadness, loss, grief, all of those emotions run through our bodies as waveforms. But if they're not appropriately processed and we don't release them from us, that's when they get stored as incoherent static within our biofield. And when we allow those areas to continue to accumulate and we don't really listen in and learn and kind of allow those areas to be released from the body, that's when they really accumulate and they cause congestion and they cause a lot of stagnation of that energy flow. And when that's in the field, that's translated into the cells of our body. So that's when you're going to see somebody who maybe doesn't want to move on to the right hip. Maybe they don't know where their left leg is in space. Those compensatory movement patterns, potentially that started from an injury, that, with those physical modalities, maybe are not, this injury is not moving anywhere. It's a stuck still because there's still stagnant, stuck energy in the field.
Yes, that's when I refer to you guys. I can see it. It's pretty well established that if there is pain at a site, there is no guarantee of actual tissue damage, and that is probably still going to be controversial for a lot of people for a while. But this generation of movers, exercise intellectuals, the people we're talking to, I think might have a clue that that's not the case. Sorry if I interrupted you, but I had to give you a distanced high five from there, from that one. Sorry. What? Did any aha moments with when you were new to the practice?
Sure. I actually get aha moments every day. Anytime I really have a Biofield Tuning session, there is some component of an aha because there's some component of movement of energy that when there is no longer that stuck, stagnant pattern, that waveform, when you release that and it can move through the body, there's movement of thought, there's movement of emotion, there's physical movement. And the aha moments come when the person on the table becomes in tune and then realizes what that was in the field, whether they knew that it was there or what it was or not, but it being lighter within their bodies. I love working with a person who is skeptical to energy work. It's amazing because they walk away feeling something, and it's really an interesting treatment because you can be as open or aware as you want or as involved as you want. So if you want to just feel good and keep the energy moving, there are techniques just to kind of clear the field. That doesn't really make you listen and process and think about that or feel what was caught within the field. Or you could be very involved and use Biofield Tuning as a tool, along your journey of that conscious personal mastery. What is in my field? If that waveform continued to sit off my left shoulder, what is held then off the left shoulder within the field? And what patterns do I then make within my life, whether they're movement patterns, thought patterns that might be closed-minded or negative self-talk, or those emotional patterns that just keep popping up. The person who's just like, I have a couple of weeks and then I'm just so fatigued I can't do anything for a month, and then I'm back to it for a little bit, and it's that movement. So It is a really interesting tool to use because the aha moments really come to the ones that are really open for it, and and they're all on the table every day. Every time that there's a session with somebody, there's an aha moment. I mean, I had a young guy, 34, fitness, physical jobs as his career now, and has had a lot of loss in his life and has a lot of frustration and disappointment. And he just had a really bad low back injury. And we did some physical modality work. We did some breath work and some repositioning work. But we also utilized the Biofield Tuning. And he sat up and he was like, I felt exactly what was going on within my field. I felt frustration and disappointment with this. I can feel that is associated with the healing component of the back injury. And there's always, what came first? Was it the back injury and then causing the stress in the field, or was it in the field that caused potentially the vulnerability within the tissues? So, there are questions there too, but the aha moments, as small as they might be, it is whatever level of somebody when they have an awareness to their physical body, their emotional body, their mental body. It's a beautiful thing. So it is an aha on multiple levels like that.
Yeah. It sounds like that you can use it just alone as a mindfulness tool. Get people to check in internally and potentially have a more objective approach to what does my body feel and how is it manifesting. So that's wonderful.
And listening to your body and what that means. What does it mean to listen in? And what does it mean to be grounded? And I think grounded is a really big buzzword thrown around these days. And there are components of grounding that we could talk about scientifically with your bare feet on the earth. But also the sense of grounding is being able to actually sense all 5 of your senses in a still moment. When you close your eyes and you listen in, what do you hear? Is it noisy inside? Is there a lot of static and congestion within your body, within your mind, within that moment? And it's interesting, the person who doesn't want to listen in, the person who continues to be busy throughout the day, the go, I don't have time to rest, person. Because sometimes when you tune in and you listen in, there's tough stuff in there. Sure. There's tough stuff within the field. So it is also challenging to listen in. So, but being grounded and being able to sense yourself internally, we can gain so much knowledge by just feeling what it feels like to listen to yourself.
That's a game changer. That could be a game changer for a lot of people.
And that's a hard thing to even realize. I myself was an athlete. I played Division I volleyball at Delaware, and I was in that go phase. I mean, it was tough. You're conditioning, you're lifting, you're getting extra reps in, you're going to a 2-3 hour practice, definitely over the NCAA 25 hour rule, watching film and just, driving down that path. And what'd you say?
I said, that's a job, 25 hours, and then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally wasn't listening to myself then, and I had plenty of injuries pop up that I still am learning about those injuries today. And as I go through this process of learning and clearing my own field, there are things that I have been really surprised that have come up. I've had, some significant emotional releases, or just kind of laying there feeling just like, wow, I needed to just feel a little bit lighter there. It's finally completing a task, when it's like, oh, I have the weight lifted off my shoulders. That's what Biofield Tuning does. It takes that heaviness, that swamp feeling that just like loads you down and weighs you. And it says, whoa, let's clear a little bit of this from you, because we don't have to carry everything that we have experienced.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hearing that, I'm like, oh. No, we don't.
Yeah.
We can not worry about the tragedy that's happening tomorrow that didn't happen yet, and the previous, fumbles and whatever got you here. You can just worry about the present
Yes.
and not carrying all that stuff. That's nice.
Yes.
You said a few really interesting things. One, you mentioned the word static a few times, so I wanted to kind of dig into that. Grounding is an interesting, I think that could be an interesting question to take on. But can we talk about like the physics of this thing?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so when we talk about tuning, and you mentioned the spherical kind of nature of our aura, our field, right? Is aura and field used interchangeably?
Use what word resonates with you.
So if we talk about the field and it having the shape, and the tuning forks is what you're using to find the disruptions in the field, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm thinking of so go ahead and talk. Yeah, sure. Let me know what the basic 101 client needs to know, and then maybe a little bit more.
Sure. So, as I mentioned a little bit, the field holds information, memories, experience, thoughts, everything. Everything that you have ever experienced within your life is held somewhere within your field.
Whoa.
So the good emotions that we feel, the love, the gratitude, the peace, the joy, those create really beautiful, coherent waveforms. So that's like the good vibes, right? That's that person that's walking around like, oh, light as a feather, feeling good.
Yeah, and like something you would carry from childhood, maybe like that good feeling of love, and if you had that.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you were raised in that supported environment, your body would not be exposed to the fear, the stress response within the body. So taking that example, let's say somebody had a traumatic birth. You can find that within the field at the outer edge. And that waveform, so when that baby experienced that traumatic birth, whatever it might be, that's a redlining to the system, right? That's a shock to your stress response, right? That's a shock to your body. That track is going to get laid down really early on in that biofield, right? So as that person moves through their life, well, then when maybe they're triggered by a fear or that same similar stress response, you better believe their body is going to react at that red line sensation if that wasn't appropriately processed. So what you do within the field is you use tuning forks, and there are plenty of different frequencies, so we can utilize many different ones. Typically, we utilize one large tuning fork because it allows you to hear the overtones and the undertones and really appreciate the sound that it creates when the tuning fork hits that incoherent waveform. Yeah. So when we have those tough emotions like anger, hatred, when we have that pain sensation, right? It sends a waveform that's not nice and coherent in the field. It's staticky and it's noisy and it doesn't sound good. So when you use a tuning fork in the biofield and you're combing through the field, the tuning fork will hit that area. And it will sound different. And the tone will change. Yeah. And I can hear it as a practitioner. The person on the table or the person listening in via distance can hear it. And you sit with that waveform. And that waveform is almost entrained by that tuning fork that's supplying that coherent, steady sound, that wave, right? So this static wave then starts to, your body listens and it says, ooh, that does not sound good. And it starts to unlock what was in that waveform. And that energy that was once being sucked from you and being put into that waveform is now able to come back into the body. We're able to move that through your field, bringing that energy back into you so that it's not sitting off in your field wreaking havoc on your physical, mental, emotional body, but it's now within your system flowing and actually, promoting your health and your wellness. So essentially, you're taking the fork in the field, finding those areas of congestion and static and resistance, and you're just allowing the body to listen. And the beautiful thing is that it's not a talk therapy session. We're not here to dive into the roots of that. We're simply allowing the body to listen and recalibrate itself to its original factory setting, to the blueprint that it should work at. We're not meant to have congestion surrounding us. It's distortion, right? So when we clear our distortion, we have clarity within our ability to perceive things a little bit more naturally.
It made me think of that this might be a hack into a healing environment.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you were trying to do a physical modality without, with someone in pain, without having tuned in or having them tuned, then you're forcing it in a way. That could even contribute to the field a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of times people don't even realize that there is congestion within the field. And you do a tuning and they're like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. Wow, who knew I was holding on to that?
Yeah.
And we're a sounding board. So sometimes people do release and they want to talk. And we're here to just, I'm a backdrop for you if you need to let that out of your system. Other times, to help the energy move is really breath and sound yourself. When we think about being in tune like a musical instrument, that's a frequency. Every organ, tissue, every component of your body is meant to work and resonate at a certain frequency. That's health, that's wellness, right? So if everything is resonating as it should, that's beautiful. That's a radiant, healthy body, right? And when we're out of tune and we have these areas, when you're trying to do a physical movement and it's almost like hitting the wrong key. It's like, oh, that still doesn't feel right. I can't move there yet because I don't know where I am. I'm not tuned in. I don't know where the left side of my leg is. Where is my arm in this movement? And it's feeling those muscles. And when you train somebody to do all the fine motor control that you're doing, I've tuned somebody and they sat up and they could feel their left ab for the first time in probably over 25 years. They could breathe a different way because it's releasing it out of your field, but your field is interconnected and permeates your physical tissues in your body that way. So when you clear the field, you're also clearing within the physical body there as well.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting to paint that picture of what it might feel like to have a lack of sensation of your body, right? Because when you say, I felt my left ab for the first time, where did that person come from? Is this like a woman who had, a couple pregnancies and maybe some trauma in there and she loses touch with her body? Is it, a soccer player who might literally have numbness from a surgery or any surgery where that scarring is? Like if there's numbness, can you talk about that a little bit more? I'm curious.
Sure. Yeah, I love those examples. Those are great ones and absolutely true. But the other one is the typical person who goes about their day that has those unconscious moments, that is just on this autopilot, zooming through their life, waiting for the break to come, waiting for that week vacation that they needed. You know what I mean? That driven person who is not taking a moment to appreciate their breath pattern. The person who does not know how to sit on the couch and relax for a moment. The person who is go, go, go. Or the person who's like, oh, I'm so tired, and then I lay down and I can't sleep still. That person, they're not trying to tune in, so they don't even know that there are parts of their body that are unfamiliar to them until you wake them up.
Yeah.
And I mean, we wake things up every day during sessions where we are, and that's why we utilize I'm a physical therapist, so the physical body then comes into play where, okay, I've cleared this out of your left leg, now let's find your leg again, and let's ground through that leg and appreciate when you stand up and you're walking that you have the leg there. We just kind of take for granted, I guess, a lot of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. We put those blinders on because it's hard to sit inside your body sometimes.
Yeah. I would add the person who dilutes exercise or puts it in a one-dimensional space of just counting reps, just adding weight. I'm here to show people that there is more than a physical part of being physically fit. That, weight training and whatnot doesn't have to be just for battle or psychological warfare against yourself. Yep. It is here. It can literally ground you. I mean, it does for me. I have I have a good pattern of being ungrounded and very right out in the clouds. And I have a very dedicated practice of doing spiritual grounding work. And I find that weights can do that too. Anyways, tangent. The point is, I think there's a lot of examples of like this in our, especially the pre-COVID way of doing life. I'm hopeful that people are starting to wake up to that life being really, truly unsustainable in so many ways. And maybe the Amazon burning was just like a warning of get it together, humans. Like, this isn't acceptable, interaction, because you're not connected. You're stuck in the busyness and stuck in the to-dos and, hopefully stuck on my podcast, but the point of it is to show the universality of I'm healthy, so you can get healthy. Like, there's more to it than your own personal creed of taking care of your family. It is showing up to be your best, and so grateful to be here at this time, even though it seems like a complete disaster. Anyways,
just to jump onto the COVID, it has been interesting. I mean, the pain has definitely skyrocketed, the stress, and we're seeing that. And, as people are stuck inside their homes together, their energy fields are colliding.
Yeah,
and,
so the one's closer, right?
Oh, yeah. And I am seeing it in all my patients and clients, even my friends. You can tell, like, it's just this stuck and you can't get away from it, because we used to be able to, all right, let me get outside. Let me go. Either you ground it appropriately, or you're, all right, let me go just be busy outside doing whatever, shopping, going out, doing whatever you might do to just stay out of your own body. But now COVID has said, okay, stay inside. And now it's like, ooh, I don't have as much space in here. And now it's people are going inside themselves a little bit more and realizing that, oof, maybe I am carrying around some stuff that isn't so great.
Yeah.
And, this would be a great technique to do for families, And the cool thing about Biofield Tuning is it does not have to be an individual session. Group tunings are a thing that we do group tunings twice a week at our clinic.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you do a group session, and each person is listening individually wherever they might be listening from. And it's really just clearing your field. So for families, this would be a great thing to do for them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That just reminded me. I kind of want to get back to that because it worked. I felt the shift when we did that. I think a couple months ago. It's just flying by now. Okay. Oh, here's a specific question. I do want to talk about grounding.
Sure.
Do you think yeah. Does the tuning fork find excess heat and inflammation?
So you can argue that the excess heat and inflammation that's in the body is causing some of the restrictions within the field, right? So you can appreciate that the system goes both ways, that from outside in you're working or from inside out you're working. So absolutely, when there's heat and inflammation, there's most likely pain, most, potentially tissue breakdown, but stagnant, not moving energy there, right? So you could absolutely feel that within the field. And, they've done research. BioWell has a great program that you can see that, the heat does change within the body after a tuning, that it is less inflammation in the body. I mean, this is great. I just tuned a woman the other day and her blood pressure dropped at least 30 points. So it's just like, wow, it really has potential, that's limitless.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, yeah. I was talking to a friend today, and she said, she was going to do some certification with BioWell. And
cool.
So just shown that website today for the first time. Okay, so do your patients believe that you're doing magic?
What a great question. Oh, this can dive into so many different holes. So, no, I have not had a patient directly ask me, are you doing magic on me?
Are you a sorcerer?
Right. So I think that comes with education about how the science works. Yeah. Because for some people, it can be very scary. They are not understanding because you cannot see it. You cannot feel it. When you're not doing the work, right? Around you're not seeing your field. You're not seeing those congestions. So it can absolutely be something that seems magical to people because of the profound effects that it has afterwards. I have people ask the method, and how it works, and you just describe the science, and you talk about frequencies, and you talk about resonance, and you talk about that how what resonance really means within the body, and that each organ should resonate and vibrate at a certain frequency. So when you dive down into the science, the woo-woo components of it fall away because it makes sense, because it is real, because we do it every day, and there's so much evidence and research behind it that really is so supportive that a lot of people just don't have access to.
Yeah. Well, I have access to it, and I didn't bother reading it because it was like too much.
And it's a lot, and it's hard to understand. And even for me, I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. Let me make sure that I got this. Yeah. Okay, wait. Okay, now I do, And, appreciating that there will always be more to learn, as our science and the devices that we use to measure things broadens, and as we can develop that research, we're finding more and more that we didn't know, So it's interesting to allow yourself to be open that there are things that you don't know that you don't know. And when we find, such a limited, narrow spectrum of being the person who's, three sets of 10 reps here of this glute, you're closing yourself off to a lot of potential of growth, of healing, and of really tuning into yourself. That is a really fun process. Yes. Is it challenging? Is it hard to feel some of those tough things that are stuck in the field? Yes. But from my perspective and how I feel now, having some of my stuff cleared, I'm happy that I'm not carrying it. Yeah. I feel a lot better now. I can appreciate and have more awareness of my triggers now. So it's a mirror. I'm able to reflect a little bit better and tune into myself quicker and easier the more that instrument becomes in tune.
Yeah.
I think I got off topic. Sorry.
No, I was thinking Heather's, I think she's done a good amount of footwork in putting together the science in one spot, right? If I'm not mistaken. Like doesn't she have documented work on biofield tuning?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of research about biofield tuning, but, it doesn't end there. I mean, frequencies are used everywhere in healing, and there's so much evidence that proves that, frequency work is really amazing for healing potential.
So when we say frequency healing, is that acupuncture too?
Acupuncture is a component of it, sure, and not even there, but also just the frequency of your own voice. There are thoughts that if you are unable to produce a certain frequency, you're unable to perceive a certain frequency. So it's almost, like you're cutting yourself off to that frequency in total,
Wow.
without realizing it.
Yeah. Yes. The undercurrent of your decisions. Yes. And then when you say resonance, is that in reference to like a measurement?
Like frequencies, resonating at a certain vibration, a certain frequency. Every organ, every component of the body is meant to work at a certain frequency. So when it's out of tune, when it's not in that frequency, that's when you're seeing like, what's going on with the system? Why isn't this endocrine? What's going on? Maybe your hormones are imbalanced. Maybe you're just so stressed all the time. You're not able to regulate your nervous system.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I work with people in a way to help make their nervous system more flexible in a way, because people get very, these movement patterns that I work on, imbalances, muscle weakness, muscle tightness, and the body's overreacting in various ways when these patterns are going on and getting stronger. And what the work that I do, Muscle Activation Techniques RX, is we're helping the body build a tolerance to the stress of the soft tissues like muscle, contractile, tendons, and the continuum of that. And so we're training it with that scope and doing the treatments with that scope. And then that creates all this room for them to work on the emotional piece. It also creates a big hole for me that I have to and must refer out, because it comes to the surface when their muscle stuff and their joint stuff goes away. And then we're left with, okay, where do we go? Who do we talk to? Who's going to help you on that next step? And it works. I mean, I see them make the steps and elevate their training and their healing process with that type of information. Where was I going with that? Yeah. And what do they use to measure this in the scientific lens?
Oh, there's plenty of devices.
Like thermally or
gas.
Schumann's stuff. Schumann's resonance, I think.
What is the name of the device? I was just looking at it actually on the way over here. It was it's some gas. You're able to measure the gas levels coming off of the body.
Cool.
There are plenty of devices that can measure it. And I wish that I had a list with you. But there's a lot of evidence out there that does show. Even HeartMath, has done great evidence.
Yeah.
And research concerning coherency and appreciating that, resonance is key.
Yeah. So being able to measure the coherent energetic body. And that's, I love it. And what about, I have so many interesting questions. Is this also called like different names?
Sure. This is sound work. It's sound healing. And the specific technique that we are utilizing and talking about is biofield tuning.
Okay.
But sound in general it's not a new concept to healing.
No, quite
in
the
no
opposite.
way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite the opposite. Yeah, it is.
This is around for forever.
Okay, let's talk about grounding, because I feel like that is something. It's a tangible thing that people can learn, and it's something that can be brought into the optimal health practice. I tend to stay away from, giving advice or talking to people about their injuries and stuff, because they're all different and it's an experience, and I can't speak to their experience or one client's experience to another. But I really like thinking about this stuff in the how can I improve my everyday? And I feel like grounding is one of those things that can do that. And I'm biased because that's something that helped me a lot. So what do you think?
Grounding is really the key. You know, if you're ungrounded, you can do all the healing that you want, but if you can't sense your body,
That's so true.
you know, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I said before, grounding has taken on, I think, a buzzword within this realm of talk now.
Yeah, let's break it down.
So, components of grounding scientifically, like when your body is physically touching the earth, right, you are allowing a discharge, right? So we're always feeling, we have energy running through our body all the time. I mean, your electrical system, your nervous system is electric and hormonal, right? So we have electricity. Our heart is beating, our brain is gone, right? You can measure those EKG, EEG, right? Like we're electric. As well as other things. And, what do we live in? We live in rubber-soled shoes. Rubber is a non-conductor, right? So as we are walking around, you can go ahead and take that walk outside. I'm not saying that there's, anything wrong with appreciating that nature, but another component of a walk outside is barefoot, because when you have that connection, the rubber is no longer impeding your ability to discharge into the ground and allow that energy that isn't in your greatest good to move on. It sends it into the earth, right? But when you're wearing a rubber shoe, it's bouncing right off that rubber back into your body. And that plays a role in component of inflammation and pain and other tissue breakdown. So, there's that component of grounding. But there is also the component of grounding in yourself. In your senses. We can only perceive through the 5 senses that we have. And even within those 5 senses, our visual perception is not that of a bumblebee, right? Our hearing perception is not that of a dog, right? We all, right? So as a human... Oh,
and bees sense a completely different world.
Completely different
world. I got excited and just knocked over a bunch of stuff. They're white flower. We see a white rose. They see vibration, literally.
Right.
That's the coolest. I think it's just like the coolest concept
and
ever.
Even, appreciating that color is also vibration.
Yeah.
So we are still seeing, everything is vibration, actually. Even the movement of my arm that I just raised up in the air, it's inaudible to you, but that created a movement within the wave around my arm here. There was still vibration within everything. And grounding in your senses and being able to actually feel all of your senses is a whole different level of grounding within yourself. That isn't just, I feel grounded, I'm outside. It's I'm inside and I'm still grounded within here. And I think that, in our common society now, it is easy to kind of, make ourselves busy and occupy ourselves with many other things that maybe are on the path potentially of grounding, but that, also allow it to kind of skip over a step. We try to bury things within ourselves because it's not nice to feel some things. So, right. So it's easier to bottle them up, stuff them down, or maybe you were raised that, it wasn't so great to show that sensation. Don't be angry. Oh, that's ding, not ding, good, ding. Right?
Yeah.
And it's, bottle it up and shove it inside. And, when you ground inside and when you feel your body, those things then have to come out in order to create that space for the new movement pattern, for the new mental, the emotional, energetic pattern to exist.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with it, is that I have been doing some type of spiritual work for a while. I had a very traumatic death with my mother when I was 20. And even before that, we were, kind of on the alternative side of lifestyle. So, meditation was introduced, crystals, yoga, all the things. I kind of knew about these things from a very early age and was dabbling in them in my teens, and then I started meditating, and I felt a lot of potential open up for myself. I felt a lot of power, and being able to control emotions was very handy in my early 20s. And then that evolved to I was receiving Reiki and hypnosis when like the regular talk therapy just didn't work. It does, but it really wore off quick because I don't know why, but
well, the waveform was still in your field.
Yes, that's why. Duh. Ding, ding, ding. Retweet. And then I started doing the hypnosis and getting Reiki, and I felt like that was the cherry on top of that work. Okay. Then guess what I kept on doing? More Reiki, more energy work, but never had my own grounding practice. So fast forward, now we're 20, my mother died in 2002. So fast forward, I took up a grounding practice only last year, and I have felt so much potential open up. A whole new chapter literally opened up for me, almost in a psychic way, like being able to just make stuff happen for my life and my and just have a lot more intention and seeing things manifest and open up. It really that really did that for me. And maybe psychic isn't the right word to put in there, but it definitely helped me be a more focused and clear and even well-spoken person. So yeah. And when it comes to fitness, I think I've always kind of had a grounding practice with fitness, and I didn't realize it. Like, I didn't realize that was part of my intention. I was taking more of a mechanical approach to it, like my feet. I'm working on my feet. Not too many people are going to say that. But so, yeah, for the fitness, I've been able to work more out of my comfort zone because of grounding, because I feel I understand safety better.
Or you feel it better.
Yes.
You can feel it
Yes.
in yourself, right?
Yes.
When you're grounded, it's in you, right? You can feel that safety. So absolutely, that would allow you to then, what other movement patterns can I have now because of that feeling inside?
Yeah. Yeah. It was, it's been a wonderful wake-up call. And, obviously, I would have started it earlier. I don't say I wouldn't change a thing. I would have started it earlier. Did you feel like we missed anything?
I think that one of the biggest things for the population listening in, connecting it to the fitness, when you're clearing from your field, your field is connected to your body. So when there's congestion in a field, there's congestion in your tissues too. And when you clear that, you allow those tissues to not have that burden anymore. And for me personally, I have had plenty of tunings, and my body has completely changed. I have a new core and a new appreciation for what it actually feels like to have a core. I've walked away from Biofield Tuning sessions feeling like I had a whole layer of subcutaneous fat just shed right off my body. And I have lost weight with this work, and yes, it is a sound treatment, but you can also use the forks on your physical body too. And that vibration on the tissues does wonders as well, increases nitric oxide levels, really firms your skin. If you're looking to have less wrinkles, well, put a tuning fork on your face and start plumping up your skin, so just appreciating that. Even what you were saying about with yoga, frequencies and vibrations, if you had a metal plate hooked up to a tone generator and sand on top of that plate, different tones and frequencies create different shapes, right? That's cymatics. You can look that up on YouTube, right? Higher frequencies create these more intricate, there you go.
Intricate, yeah.
Intricate, beautiful shapes. So even like yoga or even other fitness movements, when you're putting your body in a position, you're putting it into a shape. Appreciate that frequencies on all of these levels. You are vibration. So appreciating that all of those levels, it trickles down into all the tissues.
Yeah. So, could you refer that to adhesions as well?
Absolutely. I mean, what is an adhesion? It's a block.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it's
I'm
stuck
still
tissue.
trying to figure it out.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's not really in cadavers, these adhesions, It's hard to find them, and for the ones I've seen anyways. And, yeah, there's so much. I haven't looked up on the science of adhesions lately, but when I did, there wasn't a real answer. Same with the core. Like, there's no research out there that says this is the core. We all agree, physical therapists, kinesiologists, trainers,
right,
orthopedic surgeons, that nobody has a unified definition of the core. And it's the same, I think it's the same for adhesions, right? So sorry, I get a little contrarian. I just have to get that out. Yeah, so have you seen adhesions dismiss themselves?
Sure.
with more energetic work versus the physical poking and prodding and rolling?
We integrate. Yeah. And that's the beauty. Yeah. That's the piece that a lot of people miss is integration is needed. You can't do one and then not do the other. You can't pretend like you're only a physical body. So you can't pretend you're only an energetic body. So appreciating that, we do both. So yes, I have seen physical tissue movement, but I also then have somebody do a breathing exercise. I also have somebody do, a neuromuscular movement that wakes up that body part, and the manual work that we do, so it is a connection. It's an integration of all of the treatments because that's how we view the body. It has to be viewed holistically, or, you have an arm over there and a leg over there, and you pretend like those two things don't talk to each other. Well, when you're doing dynamic movement, you better hope that your body's talking to each other, or, you're so disconnected.
Yeah. Could you use this as like a biofeedback tool?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. You're literally listening to yourself. You are tuning in to your own radio station. And when we find those static areas and congestion in your field, it doesn't like what it hears. The tone goes sharp, or it goes alert, or it's dull. Yeah. And those are associated with the emotions that we have. Yeah. And, when you listen, it eventually tunes itself because it doesn't like to hear. We don't like to carry those things around. You don't like to feel angry, right? So it listens and recalibrates. Yeah, from just the limited experience I have with the tuning forks, I could definitely hear the difference in the pitch or what's coming through. And one of my most profound healing experiences was was used forks. Was using the Biofield Tuning forks, and it was a big. I mean, it was ayahuasca level big type of movement, right? Yeah. And I thought of an analogy when you were talking earlier about what this kind of is, and I was like, oh, it can be an Aperol spritz or an ayahuasca trip. I was like, how about that? Yeah. I might have to get me some of these. And yeah, so you use them on yourself, correct? Yes. Yeah, and definitely. You can, the work can be done via distance. Yeah. So it's really all intention. So yes, I do tune myself. I put my body on the table, put my biofield right there, and I tune it. And you can feel it. Yeah. It's real. Yeah. And then I love to use the tuning forks on my body. I love it. It really wakes myself up. It has been really beneficial for me to find those muscles that I didn't know that I didn't feel. And waking up the body is, that's lymphatic movement, that's cellular health, that's, just allowing your body to feel that vibration and resonance.
Yeah. What days, tell us a little bit more about the group and the virtual stuff that you're doing. And why not the in-person too? Because my clients are going to listen to this. And, part of me doing this podcast is to be able to build trust within this wonderful community of healers that we have in Alexandria, right? So, yeah.
Yes. So right now we are offering group Biofield tunings. We have them twice a week. So Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. and Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. And you just tune in and listen. And I set the intention. I'm the one that right now is doing the tunings at the clinic. And I set the intention that, we're tuning the priority for the collective. But also each biofield is also on the table. So each person is truly receiving, what they needed at a therapeutic dose. So the session that you had was actually a group session, which was that profound, shift for you.
Oh, no, that one was way before.
Oh, okay.
That was with Kathleen, actually.
Okay. So, but you've experienced
I've
a
experienced
group.
the big one, yeah,
And
the group.
And the group, and it's still, it's still a personal session.
I remember when you got to the 18, 19-year-old space. And then there was one other spot that I was like only 6-7 months before. I actually remember that very specifically and that was 2 months ago.
And when you work within those areas in the field, it brings those things right to your attention. And the point is not to judge those things. The point is to allow them to move through your body and ground. So that way you are not carrying them anymore. But yes, back to the tuning. So yes, we do it twice a week. And then we also, offer different packages. We offer packages of 3, packages of 5 to help with, reducing some of the price. And then we also have sessions where we, incorporate all of the work that we do. So more of like a wellness where you get to experience all of the tools within our toolbox. Like I said, Biofield Tuning is one of the tools that we use. We also have other frequency modalities, frequency-specific microcurrent.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So just working, toning yourself. That's frequency work. So we utilize the Biofield Tuning is one of the tools within the toolbox that we like to integrate into our treatments.
What other special interests do you have as a physical therapist?
Oh, that list is endless.
Oh, nice. I'm here for it.
So I have taken a Cranio-sacral course, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
And wow, has it really changed my perspective? So there's a chance that I will continue down that path. I am still going down the Biofield tuning path and appreciating just sound work there, appreciating just toning through your own voice. So I am at the point where I'm not quite sure if I am ready to jump into a system that has been developed by somebody yet. I am now looking at all the systems and appreciating, wow, why do I have to close the door on all those other ones? I'm really so open to all because when you close off, when you put blinders, that's when you put blinders and start to go down those rabbit holes and lose the ability to have all the other healing modalities. So.
Yeah. And that, that's one of my professional goals. I think the MATRX modality is amazing, and I will absolutely continue to do that in my practice. But I don't want to be closed off, I really think there's so much in the integrative work that, you and I do, and finding the right formula and the right person and the right space holder for my clients and, the people all around the world listening. I have a client in Paris now because of this podcast.
That's great.
No, it's really cool.
That's awesome.
And, being able to help him and give people other perspectives is so important for my, my own sleep, being able to put my head down. So yeah, I love that. I think is there anything we missed? Anything
Plenty
in your
that
book
we've
you
missed.
Feel like you want to?
We could talk for hours about this. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
This is something that I am so passionate about. So, we could probably continue.
Well, give me a little list so I can just perk my ears up a little bit, because what we're doing on the podcast now is doing live feeds a couple times a month, and what else am I doing? There's something else. Oh, webinar about once a month. So there's room. So yeah, give me more topics. Give me a list.
Yeah, I mean, the frequency specific microcurrent is a pretty cool idea. And just postural restoration in general. I know that Noelle, my colleague, was on talking about the core and the diaphragm.
May 6th. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for the listeners.
And, there's so much more that you could dive into about the PRI program. And, that's really our treatment approach and the framework that we use, because it really unwinds the body. So as we kind of utilize all these other components, that's a beautiful one that we really, really, that's a bread and butter almost.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, what other treatments?
I like the microcurrent idea.
Yeah, the microcurrent is great.
Anything about that, really. I don't think and I am a definite guinea pig. So the fact that I haven't tried it, maybe I don't know. Is that the mat you lie on?
No. So similar to like the, the idea of microcurrent is not new, but frequency-specific microcurrent, essentially what it is supplying the body the inherent frequencies that it already resonates at. But when we have pain, dysfunction, whatever it might be within the body doesn't resonate at the frequency that it should. So when you use the device, it is technically under the FDA as a TENS device. It's very different from TENS. So it is subsensory. Right. You do not feel it, but it is still an electrical current. So it is applied to the body via like those pads or water, and essentially is resetting that tissue to its factory setting, what it should be resonating at. And you can use and every tissue has a different frequency, and you can do so many different things. You could reboot the frequency, you could reduce inflammation in there. You could do whatever you want.
I have
within
had
any tissue.
Microcurrent. Yeah, I have.
And it's amazing for like post concussion. Oh my Lord!
Yeah, we could talk about concussions, post concussion.
Yes,
that's a really fun topic. I mean, not fun for me, not for other people. And I'm interested in scarring and what that does to the and maybe even like the whole process of surgery and getting put under and stuff like that, like what that really does to the energetic and the physical in the tissue, and how long it really does take to heal, because I'm very curious on that. How long a scar from a surgery holds on to that frequency, right?
And that also plays a role in, the toxicity levels in that person going into that surgery, their health habits before and after that surgery, their, psycho-emotional thoughts going into the surgery. What surgery is it? Is it something that they are wanting, or is this traumatic one that's like, oh man, you came off a ski lift and snapped your leg in half. So there are so many different components that even go into that healing process in general, and that's really what we do. We deal with all those chronic crazy things where everything is breaking down, and it's like, oh, where am I? I am so lost, and that's really. We ground, we integrate you, we find your body again, and ground you, and then integrate your system, so that way you can walk away feeling like you, and having a wholeness within your body, and being able to perceive things properly and reduce the distortions around you. When it on a day-to-day, and also through the healing process.
And then 2 more questions. What What's one phrase that you often use with your patients?
Well, that changes with everyone because I appreciate that everybody has a different background. They have a different level of education. They have been exposed to different things. So what I say to one person is going to totally work. But then that other person, if I say the same thing, they look at me like I got 8 heads. So, you know, part of what you do as a physical therapist, I mean, and your work, you work with so many different clients, right? The same way that you're going to have somebody facilitate a muscle is not the same for Joe and Mary. So, you know, I guess I don't have a go-to saying other than, you know, wanting to find a complete exhale, you know, discharging, releasing, letting it go. And actually, I guess the biggest one is giving your body the permission slip, giving yourself the permission to let things go.
You probably say that a lot.
Yeah, giving yourself permission and allowing it to happen. And I think that's the hardest part. You know, we hold on to the patterns that we have because they are comfortable and familiar, even if they cause us pain. And, you know, when you listen into those, it can be challenging to hear what is around you all the time. So yeah, I guess giving yourself permission to release it and really let it move through you and then let it ground so that energy can be repurposed and, you know, sent back out into the universe so that way you can use it again. I mean, you know, energy is never destroyed, right? So it's just moved, you know, it's not bad or good. It's just not in your greatest good, giving you, you know, the energy, the support, moving you towards your goals. It's
yeah. And then the last question. No, that was I mean, I wrote down the number of when you said that stuff because I think that's my highlight. That was really beautiful. The last one is this is a big question, really. Do you have any takeaways from this recent pandemic and COVID that you're learning about yourself or your practice?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway is, you know, going inside and actually tuning in and what that means to tune in to yourself, to listen to yourself. Because, you know, in this time, we are consuming a lot. You know, we're consuming via social media, we're consuming the news, but also just the foods that we eat. You know, you're also consuming those. And you yourself are processing them. And, you know, depending on your system, we all process things a little bit differently. So figuring out how you process things is really important because that will allow you to move through your life a little bit more fluidly. And if we have these distortions and congestion around us, well, that is like moving through a swamp. Like that doesn't feel good. So when you're then consuming all these other things that you don't know how to digest and process, that's when these energy fields get really full. And that's what we're seeing with, inflammation is up, pain is up, stress is up. You know, I need to get out of the house is up because you can't go inside because it doesn't feel comfortable. But then when you tune in and you listen, wow. So for me, you know, challenging to tune in, you know, but then when you do and you sit and you have a moment of just stillness, that is when you start to hear things. And you might not like what you hear, but then there's tools for that. There's biofield tuning for that because, you know, it's not the negativity, right? It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's not in your greatest good to feel that. So letting that release, letting that go. And for me during this time, you know, consuming all that everybody is has been a challenge to find where I ground within it and how and what is important to me. So, you know, that's connection and love. And one of the cool things connecting it to biofield tuning is, you know, there can be so much disconnect with the situation, how you feel about it. Do you want to wear a mask? Do you not want to wear a mask? You know, all the components can be very challenging and disconnecting. And you could have two people that absolutely love each other that have a opposing thought, that really splits them apart. Yeah. And, you know, what we need now is connection. We need love. We need support. And the cool thing about biofield tuning is that you can be connected at a distance. That this is a loving treatment that can clear and connect you and ground you. So an appreciation and just gratitude to the treatment itself, the technique, and me really utilizing it for myself as a means to ground during this really intense time.
Yeah. That's funny when you said consuming. That was one of my things that I learned. I've been connecting with my lovely friend Crystal, who was also the person I was talking to right before this, who sent me BioWell. And she's an energy healer and a coach, nutrition side of healing. And she does this thing called human design. Have you heard of this?
I have.
Okay. Well, I'm a generator, and
I'm a projector.
You are. Poor you. No, just kidding. I looked at like the projector one. I was like, I don't want that. And I'm a sacral generator, and she goes, "Do you enjoy your food?" And I was like, oh, my God, I don't think I do. I think I just eat it. And she was like, do me a favor. Because I've been working on leaky gut for a while. And so everybody's involved. Dr. Sherry, Anka, like going down the list of our colleagues. And there's definitely like some jaw stuff in there that I wasn't chewing as well as I could have been. So that's obvious a digestion fail right there. You're not chewing your food. But beyond that, there was like another missing piece, after the testing, after the, shoveling my poop into the mailbox. It was awful. And then Crystal just goes, do you enjoy your, it was just like this huge light bulb. I was like, oh, I have to sit down and enjoy my food and actually be intentional about what I'm doing. And, it just all these light bulbs went off as to, you can choose to enjoy cooking and choose to enjoy your consumption. And it changes the way your body actually uses that energy.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm clearly still blown away by this.
Yes.
And it was, so it's very similar story there to what you're saying. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I just thought this was, I could ask, more questions about this. And, but I would love to know if people how they can reach you. And again, repeat the virtual options that you're offering and any last words.
Sure. So we're at 1-to-1 Physical Therapy in Alexandria, Virginia. So we can kind of be found through a quick Google search there. Mm-hmm. I should know the tagline of our Instagram, and I do not.
Well, it's I think it's
therapy.
at 1-to-1, 1 spelled out, 2 1 spelled out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little tricky in that sense. So, and then the group Biofield Tuning that we do it twice a week right now. And that's Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. and Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. And you just tune in from wherever you are. Mm-hmm. You can be outside listening from your phone. You can be on your bed or on a yoga mat, wherever you choose to be, wherever you find the most grounded within yourself there. And then we also have wellness sessions, and we have packages there to help reduce the price a little bit. So we have packages of 3, packages of 5, and during those you can choose to have just a tuning session, or you can choose to have the whole toolbox. And
so meaning like more of a coaching environment.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. More of a coaching environment. I know
it's healing, but guidance.
Yeah, a guided
feedback
system.
Talking.
Yeah, sure. Where you can have more exposure to the other really cool treatments that we have, and some of the breath work, some of the body work that we do, the PRI stuff, and I guess closing statements would be that Biofield tuning can sound really weird, and it can sound almost like inconceivable in a way.
Yeah, it sounds a little benign. It's like, meh. Like, it sounds a little vanilla, but it's definitely not.
Yeah, and sound, even music is used all the time to make you feel better, right? You tune into a song because, wow, that's your jam. Or you tune into a song because, that's the study mode and that helps you get there. And Biofield Tuning really provides a therapeutic dose of sound to help you heal where you are. It matches and gives you exactly what you need in the healing process. It's not giving you too much to throw you into horrible detox mode, which then just starts the cycle back over.
Ooh,
it's giving you that therapeutic dose to really promote the healing process and clear your field, allow you to feel a little lighter. And like I said, you can be as involved as you want. You can just feel good, feel in the flow, wake up having energy, or you could dive in and really learn. Go deep, figure out those areas within yourself that are congested and caught, and really learn and go on that journey of conscious personal mastery. So it's a really cool tool just because there are so many different levels of involvement in that way. Yeah. So I hope you all tune in and because it's beautiful. It's changed my life and I'm so grateful for it. I'm grateful to be here because for me, this is probably the first time that I've had such an audience to be able to share something that I'm actually really passionate about because it has changed my life and I see it change the lives of my patients and progress them and get them to, reach and achieve their goals and then progress that goal to a potential that they didn't even know that they had the ability to get to. So it really, it's, when you are in tune, your potential is limitless. So it's pretty
we're
cool.
living in a time where we get to choose these things, Having all this information is such a gift. It is not a curse. Like, we can choose to be limitless. And that's freaking amazing because no one in our lineage has had that choice. Unless we're going down the alien, unless we're going down the past lives, route. I did have that written down, like past lives ? Can we talk about that?
That might be another podcast.
Does the fork pick up on that?
So there are, just like you inherit things in your DNA, like, different diseases can pop up. You can inherit energetic patterns. So there are areas within the field that ancestral influences sit.
That's what I was wondering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can feel those influences. And, I like to think about that. I like to think about the, where we all came from. The tissues that everybody came from a small pool at some point going all the way back, right? Yeah. So, it is interesting to assess the connections there. But that could go into a whole nother podcast there.
Yeah. Maybe, probably not this one either.
Yeah, out of the scope of this, maybe.
Yeah. Impact your fitness. Via past lives. Anyways, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening and being a part of that conversation. If you have any questions about my experience with energy work or healing trauma and stagnant energy, I am so down to talk about it. You can reach me on Instagram at Jennifer_Simone_Schwartz. And please join us for the virtual free webinar on upgrading your home exercise. You can sign up at impactyourfitness.net. And I so look forward to hearing from you on social media at thinkfitbefit_podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Have a wonderful week.